Hi, everyone. I'm Terry James with Box of Compass. Thanks for taking a few minutes with me today. I'm really excited about this training because I take two of the 5 pillars that I teach in the Life by Design Academy and kind of lay them out for you and help you see how creating values and visions for the key areas of your life can really provide you with direction in the things that you want to accomplish. And then we can go into detail and show you how to create a goal stack in order to achieve some of the changes you want to make. So let's go ahead and jump into the training. I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, so the title of this training is Vision-Based Goal Stacking. And like I said, we're going to talk about two of the key areas, the key pillars in the training, and kind of walk you through each of those. So hopefully it'll be of great value to you and provide you with some great insight. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about my company and the training that I do to kind of give you a background and some understanding of what we do. So Box Compass is a little bit different of a name. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So let me jump in and kind of share with you what Box Compass means. So in the early nautical times, early sailing times, one of the first things a new sailor was required to learn were the 32 major and minor points of the compass. To box the compass was to recite all 32 points in order. So you would have to start at north and go through all 32 major and minor points. It also has another very symbolic and powerful nautical meaning. If you were out in the ocean, your captain told you to box the compass. That meant that you were to turn the ship around 180 degrees and go in the exact opposite direction. So if we want to make meaningful changes in our life, if we want to actually design the perfect life that's in harmony with our values and our desires, we need to have total clarity on where we are, where we want to be, and how we're going to get there. We need to clearly understand the major and the minor points in our lives. And sometimes we may need a complete reversal. So that's where the name of the company came from. As I was looking and searching and building this out, I came across this term, and it was really powerful to me. It really stood out as like, wow, this is symbolic of what we need to do in our lives. So I hope it's inspiring and makes sense to you as well. The Life by Design Academy is the group that I've created to teach the concepts and the principles that really encompass all the personal research and experience that I have. I spent 26 years in marketing and advertising, working with companies to help them build their brands, to tell their story, and to deliver that to the world. And when you think about it, in our personal lives, building our own life is a lot like building a brand. We have desires and aspirations, things that we stand for, things that we believe represent who we are. And sometimes we just need some help getting there and recognizing and defining that. So one of the biggest frustrations that I have with a lot of the self-improvement programs in general, whether you read a book, listen to a podcast, attend a seminar, whatever it is you get all this motivation to help you make these changes. But Monday comes around and you don't know what to do. So nothing really happens. And then Tuesday comes and kind of the same thing. You're not quite sure where to start. And before you know it, the month has gone by. Your motivation is gone, and you're back in the same patterns that you've created that have given you the results you have today. So my goal with Box the Compass and the Life by Design Academy is to help you create this vibrant vision for your life and a beautiful view of what your future state looks like. But not just that, but to give you a specific pathway on how to achieve it. I like to say vision without action is just dreaming, and action without vision is like sailing without a rudder. If you want meaningful, real change in your life, you need both vision and action. And if you want massive change in your life, you need to have a massive vision and create massive action. So that's the purpose and the meaning behind what I'm doing. Let's jump in and talk first about cardinal points. Before I do that, I want to share just a quick story with you. So many years ago, I spent a week hiking and camping in the mountains of Utah. I'd been there for about a week. I was going to leave the next morning, so I was kind of packing up camp, cleaning up, getting everything loaded into my pack, other than my sleeping bag and my tent, and went to bed. I woke up the next morning, and there were 16 inches of snow on the ground. The clouds were low. It was stormy, and I was a little bit worried, but I had been in that area for 6-7 days. I knew where my truck was. It was down by a river that I'd parked by, and was pretty confident in my ability to get out. So I packed everything up, got on the trail, and started hiking. And I kind of quickly became a little bit unnerved because everything looked so different with 16 inches of snow. There were no landmarks. The clouds were so low, you couldn't tell which direction you were going, and the light was dim. And it just kind of removed any sense of direction or any visual cues that I could. I'd been hiking about 30 minutes, and it was just uneasy. It was like, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel familiar. But I'm like, I should be close to the river. So I just kept hiking. And about an hour in, I was really starting to get worried because I should have been to the river by now. And as I was hiking across this meadow, I came across this little stream. And as I looked down, I saw a set of boot prints. And they were actually my boot prints. I had crossed that stream an hour earlier. And all the time that I've spent in the backcountry in the mountains, this was probably the most panicked and unnerving and scared I had ever been. I just looked at those boot prints and realized that I had been hiking for an hour in a blizzard in the mountains, not knowing where I was at. And had I not come back across my own boot prints, I wouldn't know where I was at that moment. Um, I had completely lost my direction and I had hiked in a complete circle. So I'm going to come back to that. Let me share with you a couple of things that are going to help give us some direction in life. What is a cardinal point? So the four main points of the compass, north, south, east, and west, are known as the cardinal points. And the word cardinal is derived from the Latin term cardo. In the Roman Empire, the Cardo Maximus was the main street running through the center of a city in like a north to south orientation. And of primary importance was the north point because everything else was derived from this bearing. So there are a lot of different phrases that we still use today that have this concept at their origin, including like of cardinal importance to kind of emphasize a critical point, or when a person has lost their north to describe someone who's in struggling life or who is literally, like I was, lost in the mountains. To know, the cardo was the hinge or the axis of the city. So it's a really powerful concept that we can kind of apply to our own lives to ensure that we don't lose our north and that we remain grounded in our core principles. So the compass has 4 cardinal points. In our lives, we have 5. And each of these has a major impact on the success and the joy and the happiness that we experience while we're here. Throughout life, we might be focused on one more than the others, but each one of these is going to require careful and consistent nurturing if we want to reach our full potential. So the 5 cardinal points for us are spiritual, physical, financial, social, and mental. Let's start with the spiritual point. Our spiritual cardinal point is critical in defining not just our success, but our success accompanied by happiness. Because if our actions aren't aligned with our values, then no amount of success will give us any level of peace. If you believe that there's a higher power that's invested in your existence here, you need to nurture this spiritual connection. And whether it's through prayer, study, meditation, or whatever your journey looks like, realize that this cardinal point will keep you grounded in your purpose for being here. There are 2 minor points in the spiritual cardinal point. They are your beliefs and your values. The next cardinal point is the physical cardinal point. And I love this saying that I saw somewhere. I can't remember where to attribute it to, but it said, we spend our first 40 years neglecting our health to earn money, and our second 40 years spending our money to repair our health. To create significant change in your life, you're going to need more stamina, more energy, and more vitality than you've probably ever had. And incredible success is going to be of no value to you if you have a body that's not capable of enjoying this new life that you've created. The body's an absolute miracle that we often neglect, even when it sends distressing signals to us of increasing severity over the course of our lives when we neglect our bodies. So there are 3 major or minor points in the physical area. They are health and nutrition, diet, and exercise. Excuse me. So the next cardinal point is financial. The financial cardinal point is at the same time both the most important of our cardinal points and the least important. Regardless of where we are financially, we can find joy in the world and in our lives. Gratitude is really just a mindset, and some of the poorest people on earth still experience joyful lives. So from that perspective, financial is not the most important of the cardinal points. However, unlike the other 4 points, financial can have the most immediate impact. If you don't exercise for a month, your body's not going to fall apart. If you don't read a book for a month, your brain's not going to wither away. But if you lose your income for a month, for the vast majority of us and many people who experienced that this year, it's disastrous and devastating. So you may need new financial habits to change your life. Making more money, keeping more of what you make, and protecting your financial foundation requires knowledge, beliefs, and actions that might be completely different than what you may have learned to this point in your life. The minor points here are spending, savings, debt, and taxation. And all four of these minor points need to be kind of working together in harmony to really make and create significant change, because you can't overspend and create savings at the same time. You can't be in deep debt and have savings. And taxes touch every single dollar that we bring into our homes. So if you don't understand how to legally minimize your taxes, you're leaving money on the table and minimizing your ability to create change. Okay, the next cardinal point is social. I heard once that the biggest fear that we have when we leave this life is that we won't be remembered. Relationships are the foundation of happiness. This experience that we call life, it's not about money. It's not about success or accomplishments. It's about the people that you share your life with and the impact you have on them. Get your relationships right, and everything else in life is a bonus. The minor points here include your family and your friends. And the relationships that you have here are really the blessings that come out of life. So the fifth one, final one, is mental. Jim Rohn said, for things to change, you have to change. So whatever shift you're creating, you want to create in your world, you must begin with yourself. Success in life only increases when your skills and contribution to the world increase. Let me say that again. Your success in life only increases when your skills and contribution to the world increase. And one of the easiest ways to begin this is by simply learning. Read, watch, and listen to the information, to information that will enable you to reach your vision that you have for yourself. One of my worst habits that I still battle is listening to the news when I'm in my car or talk radio. If I don't have a podcast or a TED talk or something inspirational ready to play before I get in, it just doesn't happen. I default to talk radio. So make the effort and take the time every single day to enrich your mind and to become a better person. The two minor points are intelligence and emotions, and these are really critical for kind of changing the trajectory of our life. We need to increase our intelligence and our emotions. So now that we know our cardinal points, how do we define them? I'm going to share something with you. Do you know what an I-beam is? An I-beam is one of those great big metal beams that they use for supporting structure, supporting floors in buildings. If you look at it from the end, it looks like the capital letter I. And they're great big pieces of metal. They're 10 to 12 inches wide and very heavy. Now, let's say that I took one of those I-beams and I laid it on the floor and 20 feet long and said, hey, if you can walk across this I-beam without falling off, I'll give you a $20 bill. You would probably do that. Not a whole lot of risk and pretty easy to walk across a 12-foot beam. And it's $20, right? So let me change that just a little bit. Let's say we went to a construction site and they were building a building, and there were these I-beams that were being installed to support the floor. And we just went up to the first floor, and there was a floor below us. But it's 10, 12, 15 feet off the ground. And if you fell off the I-beam, you might hurt yourself. You might break a bone. You might end up in the hospital. There'd definitely be some pain involved. If I put you on one side and I stood on the other and said, hey, if you walk across the I-beam without falling off, I'll give you $20. Would you do it? I mean, if you kind of got freaked out, or if you lost your balance or whatever happened and you fell, it would cause some pain. It would be painful for you. If you wouldn't do it for 20, would you do it for 500? That's a pretty significant amount of money, right? Okay, so let me change the scenario a little bit. Let's say I took you up to the top of a skyscraper that they were building. And I told you that if you walked across that I-beam without falling off, you would get $500. So I'd give you $500. But there's no safety harness. There is no safety net. The wind's blowing. The building is probably swaying 1 to 2 to 3 feet based on the wind speed. So if you fall, you would die. Would you do it for $500? Probably not, right? Would you do it for $1 million? I mean, $1 million is a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money if you aren't here to enjoy it, right? So let me change this scenario just one more time. Let's say that now there's a very bad person on the other end of the I-beam, and they have your child or your spouse or somebody that you care a lot about. And they tell you if you don't cross that I-beam without falling off, that person is going to fall to their death. Would you cross the I-beam then? Probably. So as we talk about what we want to create in our lives, think about what you would cross the I-beam for. My guess is that your mind kind of immediately went to the most important people in your life, maybe some of the core principles that you consider to be unbreakable. So how do we take these concepts and create statements in our life that represent the power that we feel about something that we absolutely will not bend on? How do we create vision statements that are powerful enough? So we often have a good idea of what these things are that are most important to us. We rarely put the actual beliefs in writing, though. And if you know me at all, you've come to know that I'm pretty big on vision statements. In fact, there's a statement that I like. It says, in order to create a new physical reality in your life, you have to first create it spiritually. That's the power behind a vision statement. Its purpose is to guide you as you physically create the life that you want, to give you purpose and power to bring all of these elements together. You know, like my experience in the mountains that snowy day, without these beacons, we're going to wander in circles, lose our direction, and eventually we're going to settle for whatever life conditions were dealt. And if you're not willing to settle for life conditions as they're dealt to you, you need to have vision statements in your life. So let's talk about that. Let's actually get in and take a look at a vision statement. One of the things that I teach people is that you're creating a vision of a future state in your life. You want to write the statement as though it's happening to you today in present tense, and you want to include bold, vivid statements that provide meaning and power and excitement and motivation to your day. So I'm going to share with you one of my statements. This is my vision statement for the financial cardinal point. And kind of as I read through this, kind of listen to the language and the things that are important to me. I live in abundance because I've created financial freedom in my life. While I will always manage my money, I'm at a point where money no longer manages me. I have multiple streams of income, so the disruption in one of them does not put my family's security at risk. I am free of any debt, and that freedom opens opportunities that would not be available otherwise. I'll never retire because I do what I love, and I will always strive to provide value to others. I've created and protected generational money that will bless the lives of my children and grandchildren long after I am gone. I give generously to causes I believe in, and I'm fortunate to have the ability to bless the lives of others in many profound ways. Do you feel the difference there between what I've written and kind of some of the statements that people want you to create, like a vision board or a vision statement? This really creates a depth and a power that is missing from simple empowerment statements. And that's kind of what we search for, is what is something that will motivate you when things are difficult. Okay, so going back to my story in the mountains, I was really fortunate that day as I kind of stood in my own boot prints by the stream. And I was shaking, not just from the cold, but from the reality that I had been completely lost in the mountains in the middle of a blizzard. Those are conditions that can end your life. But also, as I stopped and thought and stared at that stream, I realized that it provided me all the direction that I needed. Following that stream would lead me down to the river, which would lead me to the truck. Cardinal points, much like that stream, give us direction and guidance in our lives, especially when the clouds are low and there's a foot of snow on the ground. So that covers our cardinal points. Now let's talk about how we take the cardinal points and put them into action to create a direction and pathway in our lives that we can follow. So the challenge in a treasure hunt is that we have a tendency to focus on the treasure. I don't know if you have seen in the news or in stories out there. There's a gentleman down in I believe it was New Mexico who was very wealthy. He was an entrepreneur and an art dealer and an antiques collector, and he buried this chest of treasures, rubies and gold and coins, just really valuable things. He buried a chest of those, or set a chest of those, hid a chest of those treasures in the mountains, and it was found actually this last year. And I was reading about this. It was pretty interesting. A lot of people actually looked for this, and several people got lost and had to have search and rescue called to get them out of very difficult situations. In fact, there were a few people who actually lost their lives searching for this treasure. They were either never found, disappeared, or they were found deceased. But I read about this young man and his father who decided that they were going to take the summer and search for this treasure. The guy wrote this poem that had all these clues in it. He buried it somewhere in the north, in the Rocky Mountains, in Wyoming, Utah, Montana. I think were the main areas that people were focused in. I think it was eventually found in Wyoming. But this young man and his father decided they were going to search for this treasure, and they spent the summer doing all these amazing adventures, trying to figure out where this treasure was at. And at the end of the article, it talked about even though we didn't find the treasure, we created a relationship that we never had and memories that will last us for our entire lifetime. In other words, he was focused on the journey and not just the treasure. You know, the surest, fastest way to get to a place is to set your compass and start walking. You know, as you create your vision for each of your cardinal points, you're going to kind of see the discrepancies between where you're at now and where you desire to be. But the real question is, are you willing to take the simple, consistent steps that move you closer to that vision in small increments? Because it's those small things compounded over time that allow you to reach a destination. You know, as I mentioned, one of my biggest frustrations with other programs is the motivation without the direction, or even the simplified SMART goals that everybody tells you need to set, right? What I wanted and what I found is incredibly powerful, and it's called goal stacking. So if you have a series of goals that you align to your main purpose, to your overall objective, and that creates synergy and momentum. So if you've ever been at the bottom of a mountain and looked up at where you wanted to be, it can kind of seem overwhelming, right? Um, and I'm talking about mountains in both the literal and the figurative sense. What do you do if you have no choice but to climb that mountain? You take one step, and you take another, and then another. You be present in the moment, be committed to the pathway that you know with unwavering conviction that you're moving in the right direction. In other words, your goal becomes the compass, not the treasure. Your goal is the direction and the journey, not your destination. So Jim Carrey, the actor and comedian, I actually read a little bit about him, and he's very insightful, very spiritual, and very wise. And I saw this quote. It says, "As far as I can tell, success is just about letting the universe know what you want and working toward it, while letting go of how it might come to pass. Your job is not to figure out how it's going to happen for you, but to open the door in your head. When the door opens in real life, just walk through it. Don't worry if you miss your cue. There will always be another door opening." You know, I'm a very big believer that the universe responds to intention, and that when you have strong intention and you put strong action towards it, things that you never could have imagined will align in your life and create the opportunity for you to walk through the door that you need to walk through. So let's talk specifically about goal stacking, and let me show you how it works. So here's an overview. View it like a pyramid where your life vision is supported by waypoints. Waypoints are supported by your 1 year and 6-month goals, and those are supported by the monthly, weekly, and daily goals that you set. And the foundation of this pyramid is based on the values that you create in your cardinal points. I'm going to talk about life visions and waypoints a little bit later, just as kind of we wrap up to give you an idea of that. So let me come back to that. You know, it's been said that most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10. And in this training, we're using your cardinal points to get very specific with your goals, so you can actually accomplish more this year than you think and more in 10 years than you ever thought possible. So this is another way to look at the goal stacking process. We've defined our cardinal points with vision statements, which provides direction and kind of focus on the goals that we set for each one of our milestones. So what you do tomorrow supports your goals for this week, which supports your goals for this month, for your 6 months, and for your yearly vision. So let's look specifically, let's go back to my financial cardinal point. And the first thing I want to do is review it with you and then kind of determine where my focus would be. And then we can show you how to take that focus and turn it into a goal stack. So if you remember my financial cardinal point, I'm going to highlight the words here that identify some of the key elements that I want to create in my life. First one is financial freedom. Multiple streams of income. I'm free of any debt. I do what I love, provide value to others. I create and protect generational money. Okay. So there are a few elements in my future state that are not present in my current reality, right? So those are the things that I want to focus on. Let me share with you kind of what the financial goal stack is. I'm going to change the screen and take a look at my actual goal stack for 2021. Okay, so if you see here, I have my focus, financial freedom, multiple streams of income, debt-free, doing what I love, providing value, and creating generational money. So I start with my 1 year goal details. Now, I personally go in and create a vision for my 1 year. What does that look like? What does it look like 1 year from now for me? What have I done? What have I created? And what are the results that I've enjoyed? But for now, I'm just going to show you the actual statements for the goals that I'm setting. So the achievement date, December 2021. Box of Compass has become my full-time focus, and I'm able to put all my energy and drive into growing a legacy. In December, the revenue generated from Box of Compass passed the $15,000 mark, and my pipeline is full through the first quarter of 2022. I've transitioned the majority of my time away from Yellow Sage marketing, although I have a handful of consulting clients that I enjoy working with. Our income for 2021 will exceed $180,000. We have no consumer vehicle debt. Okay. Now, cut that in half and think about what you need to do in 6 months to achieve and reach that 1 year goal. For me in June, by the end of June, Yellow Sage marketing is supporting our family while Box of Compass is growing. Revenue for Yellow Sage is at $10,000 per month, and Box of Compass brings in $2,000. Box of Compass is growing rapidly. I'm teaching my system in both live and online trainings. I have a podcast with over 100 subscribers, and I'm interviewed regularly by experts in this space. My tribe is over 500 strong, filled with amazing people that love the systems I teach. And my reach is growing by 100 new people each month. I currently have 2 streams of income, including my marketing consulting with Yellow Sage and Box of Compass, which has several streams, including online courses, live trainings, and coaching. I started writing a book that will provide an additional stream of income. All right, so now you can set the different milestones for your goal stack. For me, I go from 6 months down to 1 month. You could do 6 months and 3 months to kind of cut it in half. For me, I just go to 1 month. So by the end of January, Yellow Sage Marketing has gained 2 clients that cover our essential expenses. I've launched my second paid beta for Life by Design with 15 people. I've made a second guest appearance on a podcast. I have 200 people in my tribe. I have 1,500 friends on Facebook. I post content each day. I've done my morning and evening reviews every day this month and use my journal to record my progress and insights. I'm up to date on our financial plan, and I will begin planning for a live retreat training at Royal Creek Ranches. Okay, so now you see what 1 month looks like, what the end of this month looks like. Let's talk about what you need to do this week so that as you compound the weeks, you reach your goal for the month. So by the end of this week, add 1 consulting client to Yellow Sage Marketing, begin expansion and revision of Life by Design Academy course, post 10 times to Box the Compass, add 30 people to my tribe, identify and book a guest appearance on a podcast, do my morning and evening routines every day this week, use my journal to record progress, insights, reset, YNAB. YNAB is a short for You Need a Budget. It's a great online programming tool, budgeting tool for personal finance. And then this is an older date, but it's the example that I'm using. So for today, I need to finalize vision-based goal stacking and training, post on goal stacking, deliver the training, send final reminder, morning review, evening review. Now, normally what I do is I don't redo this this document each day. I actually keep track of my monthly and weekly and daily goals in a journal. And that's part of the training on Pillar 5, which is habits and actions. I take care of all of that in my journal. So that changes each day. Okay, so that wraps up the training on these two pillars. Let me take just a quick minute and give you an overview of the other pillars in the Life by Design Academy. You know, we all have vision of what we want our life to look like. It's obviously clear where we're at in our current lives, but our vision for what we want to create in our lives might be a little less clear. And possibly even less clear is how we can get there. So the inspiration behind Life by Design Academy is to kind of give you immense clarity on what your ultimate vision looks like, and then create a pathway on how you get there. So the key pillars of this process are developing your life vision. Your life vision is this big, massive future state of what you ultimately want your life to look like. So it's like a journal entry for the future of your life. Waypoints are stopping points along the way to your life vision. They are the places from where you are today to where you need to get. For example, I live here in the Pacific Northwest. If I wanted to go from Portland to Las Vegas, I would know that I would need to stop in Boise, and then in Salt Lake, and in St. George, and then Vegas. So waypoints are kind of those midway points that lead you to your life vision. Cardinal points we talked about today in the Life by Design Academy, we go much deeper. Same with goal stacking. And then action habits are the pillar that really ties everything together, because we have actions and we have habits that we've ingrained in our lives that have delivered the results that we kind of have today. Let's be honest, what you do each day delivers the results that you're seeing. And if you want to change those results, you need to create new actions and new habits that allow you to reach those. So that pillar really ties everything in together and provides deep insight on habit forming and creation and breaking bad habits, as well as solid strategies on how to manage your life, productivity, and do more each day. So let me tell you one last story. So the summer after I graduated high school, I went to work as a horseback guide in Yellowstone National Park. And it's frustrating. It looks something like this, but for some reason, I don't have a single picture of me and my horse. My horse's name was Rebel. We all got our own cowboy horse for the entire summer that we had for the full time. We worked 14-hour days, and then we'd have 3 days off. And I would take my fly rod and my horse, and I would just go into the backcountry and fish. And it was incredible. It was an amazing summer. And sometimes we just need a guide on our journey. And I get coaches, I get the coaching industry, and I see a lot of people in the coaching industry, many of whom don't have a lot of life experience to coach with. But that's another point. I consider myself more of a guide. I've always wanted to be a guide. I've guided fishing expeditions, I've guided hunting expeditions on horseback. And I love that concept of a guide. A coach will teach you the plays and call what play to run from the sideline. But a guide is someone who's been on every single trail on the mountain. He knows how to read a compass and stay on the right course, and he's going to walk side by side with you on the trail. So here's what the Life by Design Academy looks like. So Life by Design is a training that we do on a weekly basis. So each week we do a group training. Usually we do it on a Tuesday night. We do that for 5 weeks. We teach one pillar each week. And then each week I also provide with one-on-one guidance. So I'm going to meet with each individual one-on-one and give them some advice on their visions or their homework for that week, help them get through it and make sure that they stay on track. So it's a little bit of accountability, a little bit of guidance, and just support. You also, when you participate in Life by Design Academy, we have worksheets and materials, templates for all of your homework. You just have to fill in the blanks and stay on top of it. You also have access for life to the Life by Design Academy group. And this is just a Facebook group that contains individuals and people that are just like you, who have a passion for learning and growing and creating a life vision and then working towards that life vision. The biggest thing you're going to get out of the Life by Design Academy is knowing where you're at, where you're going, and how to get there. And that is the vision and the power of Life by Design and Box the Compass. Know where you're at, where you're going, and how to get there. So the Life by Design Academy is something I run each month, and really it's just a powerful program for individuals and couples to kind of take their lives to the next levels. So normally the cost for Life by Design Academy is $847. And the January session, which we're going to be starting here in a week or so, is I know that a lot of people have been struggling. It's been a rough year of 2020, and we just want to get off to the right on the right foot in 2021. So I'm lowering the cost of that to $297. All you need to do is send me a link, an email to tjames@boxandcompass.net. Let me know you're interested. I can sit down with you and explain a little bit more and help you kind of see what we can do with your life. Dale Carnegie is actually the godfather of personal growth, and I found a really cool quote from him. It says, "Inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit at home and think about it. Go out and get busy." Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate your time. Have an amazing day, and I hope to see you on the other side. Thanks, everybody.